You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now. Aloha, everyone. Aloha. It's been a super crazy morning. Extra this morning.
Hold on, let me raise.
Can you hear yourself?
Hello, hello.
So it was
Hello, there we go. So yeah, Monerotopia is currently being DDoS attacked.
It's pretty bonkers. It's pretty crazy. I was trying to load up the website and it wasn't loading. And then we were trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And turns out that's what happened. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does suck. Not
I guess
talking
we'll have to figure that out.
We will figure it out. But that's pretty insane.
It's a matter of time.
Look at that.
But don't worry, they can't stop us. I'm trying to sense.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to tweet something out.
Of course, because he's here, but then he's there too. So yeah, I can't really show you the website.
And let me log into. Yeah, so that sucks, guys, because well, obviously everybody knows Monerotopia is happening in Mexico City, May 5th, 6th, 7th. But we added a new site for the virtual conference.
Oh, you forgot to put the light on, or I did, because we were busy.
Sorry, guys, so flustered here.
There you go.
They can't stop us. Look at that.
Look
Look
at
at that. Look at that.
It feels a little better now.
It's like we have enough technical issues. We don't need to also be attacked. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, you were talking about we were adding the virtual conference ticket, I think.
Yeah, we created a site just for the virtual conference ticket to try to easily promote that. We want to get the word out on that in these final weeks.
So I was gonna put the website up, and then that's when I noticed.
Yeah, but all of Monerotopia is down, and we contacted the server provider, and they said it's being DDoS attacked. There's
pretty
an
crazy.
unusual high level of traffic that's taking it out. Either that, or maybe we're just super popular and everybody's trying to grab their Monerotopia tickets.
Oh God! Imagine, yeah.
Doesn't work like that. It's all coming, right? They said it's all coming from like one.
Yeah, from one, I guess.
Whatever
person or attack.
So we'll try to figure that out.
Get your tickets or email us if you.
Well, I'm sure most of you listening already have or have considered coming or not. So it doesn't really apply to you. But once we do get it back up, we ask that people continue to help promote it.
Yep.
In these final days, conference is going to be kick-ass, guys. It's like has a mind of its own.
Yes, it
That's
does.
why it's just growing on it. It's a freight train. It's left the station. It can't be stopped at this point. Just jump on board.
Just jump on board.
Definitely don't try to stop it. Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's when we say bigger than last year, much bigger than last year. So
I think the bazaar is really gonna add a nice element.
Yeah, the bazaar.
That's something to talk about. So as we mentioned here a couple times, we're gonna have a Monero accepting bazaar present at the conference. It's called the Pacha Bazaar.
Pacha Bazaar, yep.
Pacha Bazaar, and actually we're gonna be doing a class for all those that are vendors in the Pacha Bazaar, the local Mexican vendors. So we're going to be doing an online webinar, probably Friday night.
Yep. Friday night.
So that should be really cool. I don't know. We might just live stream it too. Maybe make it our week's Monerotopia episode. So that should be cool. And we're going to have all the vendors, well, not all of them, those that are available, participate, and we're going to onboard them, teach them the basics about Monero, in Spanish. So I don't know, maybe you need a helper for that too. If anybody wants to reach out, maybe we could get Andreas to help us out.
Oh, maybe actually,
Right?
yeah.
It'd be good to have. I mean, obviously,
Well,
you speak
Jimena's gonna
Spanish.
be Jimena, the one that's hosting the bazaar too. But I
Yeah,
mean,
but she's not a Monero person.
She's not a Monero person, but she
Right.
translates.
Jimena, the one who runs it, she's very well spoken. She speaks English very well, and she's going to be helping us out. But she's not. She doesn't really know. We just onboarded her to Monero actually. We just gave her like a down payment for something, right, in Monero?
No, that's one of the vendors.
No, I know that, but we didn't.
No, not yet. No,
we got her to agree to accept.
Yeah. But we will be.
Guys, we've gotten a lot of people, by the way, obviously, to agree to accept Monero throughout this conference. It's been pretty awesome. Like in dealing, right? In dealing with the locals down there, like they're open to it.
Yeah, they're open to it. They don't push you away.
They're not like, nah, screw that.
They're not like, okay, you're crazy. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, tell me a little bit more.
So some of them we've gotten to straight up like accept it. Others we've gotten to accept it as down payments, and we're going to tell them we'll give them like the money down there in cash. But even that, like they're willing to do it, and it gets them started, right? They're downloading the wallet, they're downloading Cake Wallet. We're sending them Monero. They're holding on to it, and then even if they end up giving us back to us, it's like we've kind of opened their eyes, and they're considering, right? They're like, I'm sure some of those people will be like,
yeah.
No, definitely. They're like,
in
Monero or 10%. And then some we have just willing to accept, but making a lot of headway there. So Friday nights things should be cool. Keep an eye on that. It'll be cool to have people participating as well. Maybe help with, I don't know how we're going to do this thing. I guess it'll just be kind of a little class. But yeah, if we get a few Spanish speakers that can maybe like help us present it.
We'll reach out to a few.
And then we'll do like a Q&A with the vendors, what questions they have. But it'll just be cool to see. Like you guys will see us onboarding people in action. So I know you hear all the story, although we do post videos all the time. But now it should be cool because I think we're gonna have like maybe like
I'm sure this isn't new to people.
Like 10 vendors in there,
person, right? Doug got to download the wallet.
What else we got to say? I mean,
other than, this is, I've said it before, but we're looking for volunteers.
Oh yeah.
Please, if you guys are interested in getting a free ticket, and if you bought a ticket and want to help us out, we'll reimburse you for the ticket for the help. We just really need help the day of that, whatever that weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So please email us at monerotopia@protonmail.com if you want to help us out, because we are really looking for some helping hands. A few have reached out, but we need more. Just help with the conference, and then also to help with the gratuitous roaster. He needs some help. So if someone, I know we tweeted something last week. So please email us. Like we said,
there's lots of little tasks. We need like maybe somebody to guard the dome, right? So only people with tickets go in, and the other stage, right?
Yeah, there's just a lot of little tasks like we did last year.
There's a bunch of little.
So again, it's things. If you have, if you haven't bought a ticket, just reach out to us. We'll give you a free ticket. Or if you bought a ticket and are going and interested in helping us out, we'll reimburse you. We'll give you your money back. You'll still be involved. It's not going to be like 24/7 stuff. So, but you'll still get to enjoy the conference, but you'll also really help us out. So please email us, monerotopia@protonmail.com.
All right.
I think that's it. I guess.
Should we show the swag that we're wearing, or keep that a surprise?
Let's keep that a surprise.
We'll just say it's going to be handcrafted, locally handcrafted swag item. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. We're very excited about it.
At least for the general admission. Now we're working on the VIP swag. I'll just give a hint. Like we want it. Okay. Can I say what I want the VIP?
No.
Because I want people to know.
Last year.
Well,
no, we didn't do that last year. It's all, I like surprises.
No, because people are going to I guess down there, if you come down there and you didn't get, we're going to add more VIP tickets, by the way, right?
I was going to announce that, but you can't buy the tickets.
We changed the venue so we could fit more VIPs in.
Just a few more.
So we reactivated that. So we'll probably accept like 20 more, right? 10 more?
Yeah, like 15 more. Okay. But sadly, the website is down. So if you want to, I guess, email me.
Yeah, if you want to upgrade your
if you want to do that right now,
just so you know, like, so it includes the speaker dinner, obviously, which is awesome. That's Saturday night. And then it includes this swag item that's different from the general admission swag. And then it also includes drinks throughout the conference. Some form of drink. Like, we're not promising the whole world here, but we'll probably be like beers, and maybe like you could get, I don't know, like a mixed drink tequila thing, right?
Yeah.
And you're using your,
working on all
without
of
giving
that.
away too much, using your swag item, it will give you access to do that. Which we might even be able to just sell those to people who don't get the full VIP ticket. Right?
Sell what? Yeah. Well, once
Okay.
we have it down,
Okay.
we'll announce it instead of just throwing like random information that we're.
But anyway, we're adding more VIPs. If you want to upgrade yours,
many ideas.
If you're coming down there and you wanted to upgrade it,
track.
hit us up and we can now accommodate. We have enough.
Yeah.
We
so
have
just
more space.
Since the website is down, just email me again, Monerotopia.com. Just write in the subject that you're interested in the VIP ticket. We only have a room for like an extra like 15 people. So if you want to get it, please reach out today or soon when you listen to this podcast.
We added a lot more people to, well, not a lot, but we added more to Adoption Alley.
Yeah.
More space. I think we mentioned last
we wish
time.
we could show you the website.
Peter Todd.
We said that last
Paul
week.
Pui. I don't know who else recently we've added. I mean, there's a ton of, we don't even know how we're
more workshops. We added more workshops. Oh yeah. Again, we're going to say it again. If you want to join the advanced workshop, please email Chill. I think I sent out an email to everyone just to kind of reserve your spot for the advanced
Nim
workshop.
is giving a workshop. We have somebody else giving a workshop on privacy tech. We have Tuxsudo giving a workshop on degoogling phones. And the Monero 101 workshop, the Monero Advance, which Chill and Deverick are running, teach people how to run full Monero nodes and Monero mine. We have somebody else local that's from DDAP node that's helping out with that, that's participating. They'll teach you how to get a node up and running using what is it called, DAP, right? DAP node.
Yeah.
And he happens to be local to Mexico City.
Again, we'll be posting the schedule once again we get that. We have a concrete schedule, just so you'll be able to look and join the workshops as you like.
Yep. And like we said, and there's the virtual ticket. So if you can't come down, once the site is back up and running again,
you can email me if you're interested in getting the.
We're selling tickets to the virtual conference, which should be really cool. We're putting a lot of thought into that to make sure it's run well. You'll have access to both stages. So there's the live speaker stage, and then people that are remoting in to give talks. But as virtual conference attendee, you'll be able to view all those, and if you can't catch them, you'll have full access to all the recordings. You'll be able to participate in the live chat box throughout the conference, the troll box, so you can talk shit from home, whatever it is. You'll be able to participate in the Q&A, and we'll be able to bring you up on stage like we do in this show here, so people could come up and ask a question. And so we're selling those for $100, which is basically the same as the GA admission, and it's really to help fund the conference, guys. Fact is, we're putting out all the content for free eventually, like we always do. But if you want to participate virtually, enjoy the actual experience during those 3 days, you could get the ticket. But eventually, everything will be released for free, as we always do. It's why we do all this. We want to get the information out there.
So with that, I think
is it. Yeah,
I think that's our Monerotopia conference rant.
That's the rant, guys. Sorry, it's just kind of consuming us completely.
You think? Some more than others, but yeah. Again, just email us because obviously the website is down. So email us about all those things we discussed, my friends. And with that, let's move on to the price report. Let's do
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer. Aloha, Bawdy.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
What's going on, Bawdy?
Pretty good. Just got back from vacation last night.
Very nice.
Oh, nice, man.
Awesome.
Y'all relaxed, or were you watching the price the entire time?
No, I hardly looked at it at all. Just
nice.
A little bit in the morning.
Good, Sweet. Good. You deserve it.
And my jaw dropped when I got home and checked it Friday night.
Welcome back to reality.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like when you're in positions and you go on vacation, you're just like, there's a part of your brain that's like, I mean, the last thing I did before I left was check all the charts and say, should I sell? Should I stay in these positions? I got some shit coins, you know. And ultimately, I said, nah, just let it ride. Everything looks pretty normal. And then Friday, everything just seemed to crash. So we'll talk about that.
Did you have like stop losses in and stuff?
No, it's like confession time, right? But they're ERC20s. That's what I'm trading. And you can put limit orders on Ethereum. But I typically don't use stop losses because I'm typically just totally on top of the markets. So it was a little bit maybe irresponsible to go on vacay. But I mean, again, it's not the majority of my holdings. So
shit.
It's only something that if I lost, I'd be like, well, sad, but okay.
Yeah, it was something you were kind of pseudo gambling with to make more Monero, I assume.
Of course.
So yeah, man, give us the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, we'll start just to help calm everyone's nerves. We'll start with all the regular macro stuff because on that front, everything looks pretty good. Like I didn't see anything that looked too crazy. So for example, like we start with the dollar index, it's just kind of chopping sideways. We're really, I kind of do expect us probably, to end up somewhere down here in this area. That's just kind of the long-term chart pattern there. So the Dixie didn't really do anything too special. The stock market was overall just pretty flat. It's kind of the longer term here. We've got bonds. Bonds are basically normal, just kind of hanging out here. Maybe a little bit of positive momentum, but not too much, which is fine. Like if we see the 10-year yield, for example, just moderate, stable, slightly positive, that should be good for risk assets. We've got the yield curve. Everything looks pretty normal there. We don't have any crazy, this pink line down here, which is the overall yield curve inversion. That's not spiking up like crazy. So, I mean, everything just looks pretty normal to me. We take a look at the Federal Reserve assets again. So we keep a track. We're keeping track of this because we saw such a massive spike for 2 weeks when the whole banking scare happened. But this continues to come down. It's probably going to keep coming down just slowly, little by little. I don't want to see this thing drop below this point right here. If this thing comes all the way back down and then starts dropping even more, that will definitely be a sign that, hey, maybe this run has run its course and it's time to start thinking about playing protection mode again. But as we talked about last week, I'm still kind of really playing with the idea that this sort of mini bull market could last longer than I thought. It would be really funny if things topped in June, just like they did in 2019, if like crypto and everything topped in June and then spent the next 6 to 9 months just going down. Gold has been interesting as well. After breaking out and really looking like it wants to break out, it just kind of got slammed back down again, which is funny because it's kind of what happened to crypto too. So I think somewhere in the back of my mind, is there some kind of force in the background sort of trying to keep that suppressed a little bit? It is true that the stock market is doing pretty well. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has been doing better than the S&P over the past few months. But we're basically in this channel here. This was kind of the bottom. This is where they sort of put a floor on the markets with just enough intervention to keep things from crashing. We developed positive divergence where the Z-scores or the RSI, whichever one you like to look at, was making higher lows. And even though price had kind of made a lower low right here. So stocks, I mean, they just look stable. They look like they're still kind of on their upward trajectory, but very, very slowly, which is responsible. I think that's great. That's what we want to see. We just overall in the markets right now, we don't want to see crazy big movements. Those are the kind of things that sort of force the Fed's hand to act, like to take more severe action to prevent the inflation from coming back. Because if we see stock markets kind of pushing towards their previous all-time high and then trying to go for new highs, that's probably a bad sign for inflation. So, but we don't want to see the markets crash either, right? We want to at least like hold on to the gains that we have now and get slow, steady, progressive gains. So I think we're just like kind of in this long, steady state period here for stocks, for macro, for everything else. Let's see here. Lately, the S&P has been catching up. So this is the NASDAQ to S&P ratio. This going down means that the S&P is outperforming the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ being tech stocks, S&P being more traditional, large cap kind of stuff, non-tech stocks. And that's been for maybe the last few weeks. The S&P has been outperforming, but that would make sense. It needs to catch up a little bit. The banking scare hit the S&P harder. It took the S&P longer to recover. Overall, everything looks pretty good. Although I did think it was interesting. So this is the SSE composite. This is China, basically Shanghai index, which is a composite of the big China stocks. And they had a pretty big tumble starting, when was that? Thursday? Wednesday? Yeah, so they had a pretty big tumble there, which I thought was odd because they looked pretty good. But this is still kind of like in its range for its recent history. I wouldn't be too concerned about this. It could just be sort of retesting these dotted lines, if you will. Not that the dotted lines matter, but they're drawn because those are sort of spots of significance. So with all that in mind, let's go to crypto and take a look at this big drop. We'll just start with Bitcoin. And this drop started on Wednesday and then just sort of kept on going on Thursday. And we got out of this yellow box, that we'd drawn previously, which was kind of a very natural spot for us to look at the summer lows here, and then the summer of 2021 lows, and then the May of 2022 bear market sort of interim sideways chop, and we just fell out of that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is still clearly within the pattern here. I do wonder to myself if there is some kind of fundamental event that caused this, because everything else looked pretty fine. I couldn't really see a reason why stocks should, Bitcoin and the rest of crypto should drop so violently. What was that? About 11% on Bitcoin, and then I think a little bit more for some of the other coins. So, but overall, I mean, you look at this and you say, okay, it's, we were kind of trying to break out of this rising resistance. It keeps looking like we're doing it, and then it just crashes down. Maybe a side note that I've started to think about. We've got these sort of neural network AIs that are hitting the scene now, and people are learning how to code them, how to program them. A lot of them are open source, right? They're on GitHub. There is nuance into how you code them, but there are very smart people, and especially you can bet that big firms are getting into this, and they're training up their own AIs. They're using all different types of strategies. They're pumping loads and loads of price data into these AIs to trade the markets then. So I do wonder if the markets are going to start trading differently than they used to. They're going to start identifying patterns, exploiting patterns that people couldn't see, or that very, very few people could see. So that could change the market dynamic. But whether this is AI or whether this is some fundamental event, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I kind of just got home last night. If we look over here, Tuesday on March 14th, we saw that the market dropped like 9%, really maybe 10%. This right here was the United States government selling, how much was it? I think it was 50,000 Bitcoin, and they still got like another 150,000 that they want to sell. So it's like Bitcoin is breaking out, doing good stuff, and then just bam, got slammed down because they did a market sell. I believe it was on Coinbase. So it's possible that some of this, maybe the government is selling Bitcoin again. And since like all the coins are sort of locked together, their liquidity is sort of locked together. There's sort of a number of reasons for why cryptos all sort of tend to trade together. I think primarily it's because there's a certain amount of actual like fiat cash sloshing around in the crypto ecosystem overall, in terms of like exchanges and companies and whatnot. And that amount of cash can support certain prices for a lot of coins. And I still believe that basically all the coins are overinflated, propped up. But hey, I mean, it looks like they can do it for long periods of time. So, then you might argue, well, that's just the market price. And okay, maybe a lot of these coins are just totally centralized in supply, and the people that hold that central supply are smart enough not to just dump them on the market. So, I mean, there's kind of like, we could sort of debate back and forth about whether that's a real market dynamic or a fake market dynamic, or it's false or propped up. But at any rate, the point is that we've seen that these prices, can basically be sustained in this area. And I think that the reason that crypto prices trade together is because the amount of actual fiat cash in the crypto ecosystem is a factor in how high they can support those prices and how much leverage can be taken there. So if the United States government sells 50,000 Bitcoin and takes out, I don't know how many billions of dollars that would be, that's going to remove real cash, real fiat from the crypto system, which is kind of going to affect what prices can do. So they all sort of, prices tend to all trade together. But the other thing is that a lot of these coins are just traded pairs against each other. So, you know, like for example, everything trades against Bitcoin. There's a lot of liquidity there. So because their liquidity is bonded together, you'll see their prices in terms of US dollars move together. So I'm not sure. I don't have any big opinions today on whether this goes up or down. It doesn't look great. The Z-scores, maybe, let's go to a shorter time frame. Maybe we can see something there. You might be able to say right here that that Z-scores are showing a kind of positive divergence, right? We've made lower lows on the price. The Z-scores have made higher lows. I would be a little bit concerned with this guy right here, this sort of brown line that just poked up above in a big way, these sort of downsloping longer term Z-scores. Typically that's not a great sign. That's sort of like, that's basically, the way I look at that is kind of a liquidity run. You've got price moving against the momentum, but at the same time, we're looking like we're changing momentum. Overall, you might think to yourself, you know, this really, really long line right here would be a pretty natural spot to go for. I would really, really like to see us not actually go lower than, you know, than these lows down here, right? Ideally, if things are all looking good, you want to see this hold a support, kind of come back up here, you know, maybe do that. And that would be totally fine. Again, if like so far, the name of the game has just been stay in the market, right? There was some crazy stuff that happened in March, you know, whatever. But after that got backstopped and everyone was comfortable again, markets just went right back to the top. So yeah, we got a pullback going on here. It feels bad. Probably, you know, like, yeah, that's 10%. I could have traded that. But overall, I mean, it's hard to believe that this run is just over. Everything else looks fine. So really, I would probably encourage people just to hodl for the meantime. If you're, you know, if you didn't already get out, right? If you didn't take any profit up there, you're still in it, probably stay in the market. Let's see, total looks basically the same thing. It's kind of the same deal here. And so with that, we can go to XMR. We, you know, just so we can have like solid, good perspective to understand, you know, what XMR might do. We're basically looking at, we were sort of above the that bear market resistance line, and then we just crashed down below it. Although we didn't get hit any harder than anyone else. Like XMR crashed about the same as everything else, perhaps even less, right? We actually, XMR has been rising against Bitcoin. How much did we crash actually? Let's get the actual number on that. That was 8%, but we've already kind of rebounded, so we're about 7% down. Maybe you could say we're 8% down. So yeah, Bitcoin crashed maybe 11%. Monero crashed about 7 or 8%. So let's see. Let's go back to this chart. Go to the shorter time frame now. It wouldn't surprise me at all to just retake this line. We see this with Monero all too often, where it just like it'll break a line. It'll look like it's good, it's solid, it's going to go, and then it'll just like break back down. It's kind of weird. It does definitely look. Go to an even shorter time frame. It definitely does look like we've got divergence here on the Z-scores. So lower lows on the price, higher lows on Z-scores. This right here probably was even a bit predictable just from this divergence. So there's a good chance that this thing recovers above that bear market resistance line. I really kind of need to spend a few hours just scrutinizing everything, letting my brain churn on it to see what I think might really happen here. We've also got
Monero can slowly start to climb up against Bitcoin here, given the downturn.
I mean, my anticipation was that Monero was going to play in this area down here. I did expect that, but we've got positive divergence again. Like the Z-scores are just showing all kinds of divergences over the past, really the past week. So we've got kind of this going on right here. You can see the green line is kind of still going a little bit lower. But we do have positive divergence on Monero versus Bitcoin, right? So this is XMR BTC chart right here, which would suggest, that we might actually come back up to somewhere to this line, right? Maybe to this line, or maybe even into this range right here. Let's take a look at the shorter time frames. I mean, this looks like a bottoming pattern, right? In a lot of ways, you look at this and it just naturally kind of looks like a bottoming pattern. Bottoming patterns can be funny, right? Because this thing could just kind of do, okay, so bottoming patterns could do something, like this, and then just take like some crazy dip down, right? maybe Bitcoin goes on some crazy big run for like 2 weeks, and XMR BTC gets left out and then just bounces back up. Like bottoming patterns do that kind of stuff. So it doesn't mean that we couldn't make any lower lows, but it is starting to look like the beginning of XMR BTC having the potential for reversing. But we're talking longer time frames. We're talking over the next 1 month, maybe 2 months. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. After
that, I thought we might look at Bitcoin versus the stock market today. Just a quick look at it. We're on the daily chart right here. It was interesting. This line right here to me was sort of the most interesting for quite a while, just because that was like capping the Bitcoin price for a long time. Then there was this kind of like broadening structure almost, and then things broke to the upside. And now, so that's the June 2021 lows, and then this was the May and June 2022. And basically, we're kind of just playing in that range here. It looks like we wanted to get above, but it's probable. What I'm seeing a lot of, and probably you guys have noticed, are these sort of channels, these upward sloping channels. And at the moment that something looks like it's about to break, it might break, then it just comes back down. That was true of the NASDAQ. Go back to the NASDAQ. Right. So the NASDAQ, we kind of got this upsloping channel. Looks like it might break there, come back down. And then it's sort of just trending in that channel. Same thing happened for Bitcoin, kind of sort of for Bitcoin. It's not exactly so much a channel, it's more like rising resistance, but things are just kind of like grinding higher on these upsloping resistances. So I'm seeing that here also on the Bitcoin versus the NASDAQ. We could also look at total versus NASDAQ, and it's not quite as bullish as Bitcoin has been. You can see that we're basically still capped by the FTX doom level here, and then these sort of summer lows that happened last year. But just good to keep perspective. I think I call it cross-check. When you're looking at an asset and you want to understand what it's going to do, you're really well served by taking that asset and looking at it relative to other assets. Like, so for example, here I've got Bitcoin versus the NASDAQ. I've got Bitcoin versus bonds, VTI, which is like a Vanguard aggregate bond valuation index. And then we've also got BTC versus gold. And so it's just good to get a feel for how each asset compares against other assets, because you'll see similar chart patterns develop. Like right now for Bitcoin versus gold, you might look at this and say, okay, this is fairly significant, right? It was resistance. Now it looks like it's trying to develop a support. It's a little bit below it at the moment, but that doesn't mean it has to break down. We want to see this come to the upside again. But if it does come down here and break down, you might think, okay, well, maybe gold's about to, make a big run. I don't think so. I really think that'll come back up. But anyways, just kind of a tip out there for people that look at a lot of charts. Take different assets, especially different asset classes, and divide them by each other. So I guess we could take one look at the divergences. Monero has been in negative price divergences all week long, by basically across all the exchanges. So again, I don't know exactly if that necessarily means anything, but we did have kind of price crashes this week, and things were in negative divergence. That still seems to be a pattern I see a lot of when we have sort of broad crashes or sharp crashes on prices. For Monero and XMR USD, we do see these negative divergences developing. So yeah, I think overall, hopefully no one's panicking. Things look pretty normal. I would not be surprised for Monero to break back through this resistance, and that would actually be very powerful. If we come up here, we come down, maybe. The one thing that I don't like, so if you guys remember, I was talking about how it would have been nicer to break this with more momentum to the upside before coming back down to test it. I think I said that maybe last week. And this is kind of the reason why. It's like, if we had more momentum up here, this crash could have just sent us down to test this and you'd feel more comfortable. Right now, I look at this and I wonder, are we just going to oscillate down this line a little bit? Is that like the plan until, the price pressure is too much to be contained? I don't know. Well, anyways, happy Monero birthday to everybody. April 18th, Moni run. And that's all I got for you guys today.
Yeah, thanks for doing this right after your vacay. I know you kind of touched upon it a little bit, but what is kind of your gut feel as to what is causing this downturn on a fundamental level? Like, I've been kind of caught up in Monerotopia and the conference. I haven't been following the day-to-day in crypto land too well. Like, what do you think is causing this general downturn?
I think it's it could very well be the United States government. They have 150,000 Bitcoin, I believe it is, left that they want to sell. I think they were like 220. It was somewhere around 200,000 Bitcoin that they had to sell. Like I said, in March 13th, they sold, I think it was 50,000. They were like Silk Road Bitcoins. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because this 10% drop is about the same as the drop that happened back then. And it also kind of came out of nowhere. Like everything else looked normal. It didn't look like this drop should be this severe. At the same time, like this is just charts, right? That's just how trading can be. Charts can just do weird, volatile things like that. There's people, there's traders out there, there's leverage, there's a lot of players. There's also one more thing. And maybe this isn't a big factor. I was reading a thread by someone named Tay. I think you follow them, actually. I was trying to check them out and understand who they are. I don't really know who they are. Okay. But someone named Tay, and they're actually followed by like quite a lot of people. I think like Jesse Powell, and a whole bunch of other people. So apparently what's happening is OGs are getting raided right now. They're getting their funds drained. And they can't find any commonalities. Like some people have said it was a MetaMask thing, but it doesn't seem to be that, because other wallets are affected. Some of these guys have funds in their hardware wallet. And apparently like their hardware wallets are getting drained. And they've had forensic analysis on their devices, and no one can find anything like what happened, what's gone wrong.
And this is all Ethereum?
It seemed like it's Ethereum heavy, but it also looks like there was XRP, Litecoin. They even said XMR. So
really?
We're not really sure, because it seems like it's not just MetaMask, it's not just Ethereum. There's other wallets involved, and it's not noobs. It's all OGs, people that should have relatively good security. So I think the recommendation was for, hey, OGs, if you've had funds, if you've had the same seed phrase across multiple devices at this point, you need to migrate your funds to a new seed phrase, on one device. Obviously, you don't want those keys to have ever hit the internet. I have some slight disagreement with that, but 99.9% of people probably shouldn't really store their private keys in a hot environment, unless you're someone like, I don't know, maybe Seth, that really knows what they're doing with security systems and cubes and stuff like that. And even then, like, it's just dangerous. But anyways, the point is that it does seem like people that have had funds on the same wallets for years and have never rotated their seed phrase, rotated their keys, it seems to be like those are the guys getting drained. But we really don't know. Like, we just don't know what's causing it.
I did see that during the week, and I was just kind of like, scrolled by it. But yeah, the other that is extremely significant. Yeah, anybody that's been following that story, maybe you want to jump up on stage later. That is.
Yeah, I really would. If someone has more information on that, because I could only see Tay and then a couple people that were like.
I thought it was just Ethereum that it was happening. Not that, I mean, even that's interesting story nonetheless. But you're saying it's happened to various different cryptos and it's OGs.
Yeah, it's heavy on Ethereum, but it really is everything. So I breathed a sigh of relief when I got home and saw that my funds were all still there, because I was I've been doing a little bit of trading using Ethereum, ERC20, shitcoin, stuff like that. And to get the best rates, I'm using, these websites like Matcha and 1inch. And so it's like, okay, I have more funds than I would like to lose, but enough that I'm willing to risk. But I've been using these websites, and every time I use it, I'm like, dang. So I'm just like going to this place saying, hey, I want to swap these coins. Okay, click this button in your MetaMask, and it trades. And every time it works, and I'm like, I even divided my funds up into multiple wallets, because I was like, man, I don't want to get taken, for all my funds at once. At least I can divide them into multiple wallets and limit my losses if anything bad happens. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a whole experience. I got home and the first thing I did was like, okay, open up the laptop, update everything, restart the laptop, spin up a virtual machine, take my other virtual machines offline, open them up, get my public key, check it on a block explorer and a separate virtual machine to make sure the funds are still there. Okay, they're still there. delete the old virtual machines and then re-import my private my seed phrase into a brand new virtual machine that shouldn't be compromised, and then set up a new wallet, transfer everything. So it's like a whole thing, basically high stress kind of stuff.
Just buy gold, man, and go bury it somewhere. And go on vacation.
Just carry a treasure map tattooed on the inside of my butt cheek, just in case I get a concussion on vacation. Remember where my gold's buried.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I just pulled up the art. Yeah, this article that I'm seeing in Decrypt, they're just mentioning Ethereum, but yeah, maybe it's more. It's a hacker has stolen 10 million in Ethereum, and no one knows how. A hacker has been targeting OG crypto users since December, draining their wallets and leaving experts baffled. That's on Decrypt as of 3 days ago. But yeah, maybe it is beyond that. You saw other cryptos getting mentioned, huh?
Tay, I'm just going off of what Tay said, and I didn't know Tay until a few days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a buddy of mine sent it to me when I was on vacay. So I was like,
crazy.
Very
all right,
crazy.
Man. Well, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And we will be in touch. Stick around if you can.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
All right, man.
All right, awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Next week. Bye-bye. All righty, let's move on to the dev segment. Let's do it.
And now for the Monero development segment.
Nice.
Hello.
Hi.
We leave Priceland and we come back to nice, calm development land.
Nasal.
Where there is no.
Sure, I guess so.
Just a slow and steady climb up here,
Yeah. So Bawdy was great. As usual, they gave me a great lead in. I don't know much about the hacks that they were talking about. I did see the Twitter thread, which is crazy stuff. But I guess today's talk is going to be about all about hardware wallets. And originally it was in response to the foundation devs announcement of like getting some work doing, not official work from the foundation hardware wallet, but just like one of the devs there forked the code base and said they should work towards getting Monero. So this is mainly in response to that, but it also segues in quite nicely to what Bawdy was talking about when it comes to security.
Awesome. Yeah. It's all connected here. Yeah. What exactly was the announcement with Foundation that they're?
I have a tweet right here.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let you do your thing. Explain the whole. What's going on.
So Matt, I believe, is a firmware dev, which is basically they build software. I believe they're a firmware dev and they build software specifically for specific hardware, and they work at the Foundation hardware wallet company. And they tweeted this right here, and it says, I went ahead and set up a fork of Foundation devices with some initial issues and bounties. And pretty much what happened is a bunch of Monero people hopped on and started creating bounties in the GitHub repo to get things created. Like one of the simple ones was getting the hardware wallet to display Monero logo. For other bounties revolve around seeds and addresses. And I want to reiterate again, this is not official from the company. This was made by a dev at the company on their private repo, private Twitter, all those type of things. Pretty much the ideas, and this is the hardware wallet company that I think Seth for Privacy works at now.
Yeah.
So they're working on getting, the community is working on getting this hardware wallet to support Monero, which is really important for security reasons and all these other things that Bawdy touched on in the end of his presentation.
Very cool. Very exciting.
Yeah, and there's not much specific to talk about that, but I just want to go over like a quick overview of what hardware wallets are and what they do and how you can use one with Monero, essentially, is what I'm going to be presenting on today.
Okay.
So the next
somebody like put bounties out to start developing this for.
Yeah, I think Don't Trace Me, bro, put out one, I believe, and they're like, I think one's like for 2 XMR, 5 XMR for things like that. So they're all on the GitHub right now. I can drop the links after so you can go view those and add to a bounty if you want to.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice to see.
Yeah. So you might be asking yourself, why are hardware wallets important? Why are people funding getting foundation devices to support Monero. They're very important for several reasons. And based on what is a hardware wallet, and like Bawdy said or mentioned, a hardware wallet is meant for, I would guess, people who are not technical like experts, and you're able to get an air gap machine essentially, right? Because Bawdy was talking about spinning up a VM and all these other things, and that's really, I would say, more advanced. A lot of people should trust themselves to be. So a hardware wallet is pretty much a tiny computer, and it is meant to get you an air gap machine already. So that way, if your computer has a virus on it, hopefully you won't lose all your funds when you're using a hardware wallet, because it's a separate air gap computer that's really hard to infect with different viruses.
Right.
But,
so your private key is stored on this hardware, which is not connected to the internet.
Exactly. And it's like, it's a very small code base. It has a ton of devs looking at it. Generally, most of the code base is going to be open source. So it's just going to be way more secure than like a big operating system on your own computer, et cetera, et cetera. But there are some differences between them, and they did make different design choices, which I'm going to give you a quick overview of the hardware wallets that work with Monero, so you can make your choices and pick which ones, what attack vector you're trying to defend against, essentially.
This is great, man. Great idea for doing this week.
Yeah, so if you, especially after the attack by Bawdy, we don't know who's behind it. So if you want to, North Korea is infamous for their different attacks, specifically involving crypto and fiat. So you want to make sure, you know, your funds stay yours and not some other nation states. You want to pick a hardware wallet. There are different ones. So we're going to go over different hardware wallets right now. And then if you're just looking for a basic protection from like a computer virus, right, you would pick, I would say, Trezor, because they have completely open source technology. I think they were one of their first one to support Monero, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the one, a big touchscreen, really accessible. But you want to be sure that if you're picking this one, you have to get the Monero, the one with the screen, the big screen, because the little one, I believe, doesn't support Monero actually. That Monero T, I want to call it, does not support Monero. So you want to make sure you get the one that looks like this on screen. And the really cool thing about Trezor is that it's completely open source. That means that all the code is audible, every single circuit. I've actually built one before, and it was a really fun process. You can actually buy the supplies online and build one yourself. So if that's your thing, that's what you want to go with. But the downside is that it doesn't have a secure element. Essentially, so it's not going to be good against in-person attacks, generally speaking. But it is completely open source. So if your attack model focuses solely on computer viruses, which I would say most people's attack models are probably just a computer virus. You know, you're getting a virus on your computer. I don't think most people are going to face a thief in their house with a gun, you know, but I'm just putting options out there. But if you want to step up a little bit and get into something that offers in-person protection, but has a secure element in it, you want to get something for Monero specifically. You want to use something like a ledger. Now, ledger has a secure element in it. And the secure element code isn't open source, but you can do some things to help around that. But it's not like 100% open source. So there are some trade-offs with it, right? So Ledger is also pretty cool. I have both of them. I use both of them. Like you're going to be fine with both of them, in my opinion. So, you know, not too big of a deal.
And how is using Monero with them?
I personally, there's some issues in my opinion with both of them, because it's pretty good, but it's weird. Like you can't recover a Ledger seed on a different wallet. Like the seeds aren't compatible, which is a little weird. But I think that's just like finer things to work on. But I personally find both of them to be really good. I use Monero GUI, and they're both like amazing. I plug it in, it just works, you know. And then I personally like Trezor's big screen, but that's like, you know, finer details, but they're fine. But like I said, one thing you want to be aware of, you're not going to be able to use it with like BTC Pay server that Seth worked on. If you're accepting payments, you can't use it with that currently. So there's some small edge cases I've run into, but overall, like it's like with the Monero GUI, it's like amazing. Also, I use it with Feather Wallet also, and it's pretty sweet too.
And okay, so really, but the only way to really get these hardware wallets up and running with Monero is through the GUI or Feather Wallet.
I believe you can use this CLI tool, but like
obviously
haven't tried it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can use CLI tool. I think Feather Wallet supports it. Monero GUI supports it.
You can't just natively use the Ledger software to get a Monero wallet.
God, oh no. And you wouldn't want to either. You honestly wouldn't want to, because I think a lot of people don't in the community don't understand how amazing the Monero core dev team is, and how the software is so optimized to be private that honestly, like, if Trezor wanted to, they probably couldn't even do it natively in their app, because it is such a massive project that's been tailor-made specifically for Monero. First, like, Bitcoin doesn't really have any privacy features, so it's sort of just like you plug it in, it works, right? But Monero has so many different things, addresses, there's networking things going on, like Dandelion, Tor, like you wouldn't want to, right? You want to use the Monero GUI or Feather Wallet, something specifically made for it. So yeah, unfortunately you can't.
Right, which is why it would be exciting to see a native Monero hardware wallet made for Monero.
Oh yes, we have funded, I think at least two. I'm going to cover them coming up. Then this one is but the issues with secure elements is that you're trusting the secure element manufacturer essentially, and you Monero, you want to be independent, you want to be open source. And what's really cool is that we currently have funded a Monero seed signer, and this is a hardware wallet that works just using off-the-shelf components. You don't have to trust anyone. You can open source components, and it works as a Monero hardware wallet. I think the Monero seed signer was funded, I believe, a year ago, and they're making some pretty good progress. I can leave the GitHub links for you down there. So this prevents you from supply chain attacks, right? But it doesn't have a secure element either. So if you want to get protection from in-person attacks, you need a secure element, and this doesn't have that. So it's sort of like there are different trade-offs, right? You have to get when you're getting a hardware wallet. And honestly, none of these are probably going to be bad. The Monero seed signer, I believe, isn't out yet. So you would have to wait around for that. But if you're a dev, you want to fund it, it's already been funded. We want to help out the devs doing it. I can link to the GitHub links below. But they're just a quick overview of hardware wallets. Like I said, you're going to be fine sure when you get, but there are different design choices that result in different use cases and protection of different things better. Yeah. Any questions so far?
No. Keep going. Yep.
Oh, sweet. So hopefully from this little quick, I want to keep it short and sweet. I try to do less graphs also. I remember my last one was very graph heavy. It's for the people listening in the spaces, I would try to use pictures this time. But yeah, it's really cool that the foundation or devs at the Foundation Devices company are supporting Monero. The community is coming together and getting more hardware wallet support, because it's really hard actually to get support on a hardware wallet. It takes years of work. I think Monero is the only privacy coin with hardware wallet support actually. So I don't think Zcash has it. I don't think Grin or other coins have any hardware wallet support currently. And Monero has two, Ledger and Trezor, which is really impressive right now, honestly. And like I said, there was if you look in the right here, there was another project that we funded, are these Castillo hardware wallets.
Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. But it was really cool. Like the website is still up and the graphics are like amazing. It's like, wow, it's really cool. But right now, our best bet for getting one native, like Doug was talking about, is going to be the seed signer for Monero. And there's getting worked on right now. And it's like pretty much a fork of the seed signer from Bitcoin made specifically for Monero. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I forgot about that seed signer project. So
that's really cool.
And then we also have this isn't really a true hardware wallet, but you have the sidekick that Monero is working on.
Oh, I missed that one. That's based on like a phone air gap, right?
Yeah, basically turning your old Android phone into a hardware wallet.
Yes. Oh, how's that? You know how that project's going? I forgot to follow it.
I don't know. They've been making I don't know.
I'm assuming they're making progress.
Yeah,
it's like slow because I think funding
I don't think
and
it was
everything.
Completed yet. But yeah, the idea being you'd hold your private key on this, you turn your old Android device into a dedicated hardware wallet that's not connected to the internet, and then when you go to spend your Monero on Monero or eventually other apps, it would communicate with the sidekick to sign your transaction.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think Bawdy's touched on
it like because everybody has so many people in the world have an old Android laying around, and it could effectively turn those things into hardware wallets. I'm sure there's criticisms for why that may not be as secure as using hardware device built solely for that purpose. But there's also advantages too, right? You're not on this list of, hey, I just bought a hardware wallet because I own all this crypto that I'm trying to secure. Rather, you're just taking your old Android device, Nobody knows you have it, whatever, and you're turning it into a hardware wallet. I think that's pretty good for kind of like OPSEC purposes, right?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Like I said,
You're not advertising to the world that, hey, I'm in the market for purchasing a device that could hold all my valuable cryptocurrency. Like you could just do it without essentially buying anything and putting yourself out there.
Yep, and then Ledger, Trezor, and Coldcard have all leaked customer data in the past in various ways.
Exactly.
So what you're hitting at is really good. Like whatever option you pick, you're gonna be probably fine. Just please don't use don't put 50 grand in like a web wallet. Like whatever you do, just get it on a separate device. As long as if it's a separate machine you're running a VM in, like Bawdy talked about, if it's an Android device, if it's a hardware wallet you made yourself, you bought from just please don't put a lot of money on your computer that you're browsing the internet and torrenting with and all these other things. You're probably gonna be a lot better off for most people.
I'm old school, guys. I use paper wallets. All right, I write things down, write them down once or twice. Yeah, I mean that's pretty hard to compromise once you have your seed written down, right?
Makes sense.
And then you could have your spending funds in a wallet that's connected, right? But you could safely move funds to a wallet where you just write the seed down and not have that connected to the internet in any way.
Yeah, that's definitely old school. I remember Andreas had the first Bitcoin paper wallet website. That was like what, 2011, 2012?
Yeah, well, yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, basically, just the concept of generating a wallet, right? But whether you're using the GUI or the client or even something like Cake Wallet, right? And sending Monero to it, writing down the private key, your seed phrase, and then you can delete the wallet, right? Just make sure you wrote down the thing correctly. Check it 10 times. Make 2 copies, whatever. Maybe put one. People would argue against this, maybe putting in a safe deposit box, but there's everything's got pros and cons. But that's one option. Secure it, right? And
yes,
you're not connected. Like, all right, so maybe you're concerned with the way you generated the seed phrase because you used, I don't know, something that could have been compromised, but that's a pretty fail-proof way, right? And it gets you up and running very easily, and I think you're pretty secure. I don't know, what do you think of
that? Like you said, it has pros and cons, but I think that's probably the most accessible one. I mean, everyone probably has pencil and paper, and you probably have a phone. So I think it's pretty good for getting up and running. Like I can't hate on that, right? Like it's simple, accessible,
right? And then
untraceable.
Spending amounts in a live wallet, whatever, Cake Wallet or the GUI or whatever it is, and you can keep Monero sitting there and for spending. But you could also have, if you want to, really store some digital gold. It's a pretty good, reliable way to do it without needing any hardware.
Yeah, it's probably the most. Your address isn't going to get leaked either because you did that. Your emails aren't going to get leaked because you're not giving anything to a company. So it's pretty good operational security wise.
Right. And then you could get more creative. You can etch your seed into metal plates and things like that. There's all that. But, there are ways. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us. All right, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Later, dude.
Adios. All right. I guess let's move on to the news segment.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Tony was doing it, but we could quickly kind of run through some things.
Yeah.
Do we have our special guest? Is he?
It's in the works, as usual.
Is he aware?
He's always he's a tough guy to
Rafael Laverde is
I've tried my best. I mean,
as of yesterday he was on board.
He was confirmed, but I do not know where he is. I'm asking some people to reach out to him, so hopefully
he's a very busy man.
I know. Yeah, someone wrote back. They're trying to get a hold of him.
All right, we could run through. I didn't prepare for the news because I thought Tony was doing it, but we could run through some news articles, the ones that I think he was going to do.
All right,
you want to bring them up?
Yeah, so let's put on the segment and maybe we'll switch sides so you can be closer to the computer and control the news because it's on here.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna do from here. I'll do from here.
Okay, but then all right, sure. Alrighty, let's do that. Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by IVPN. Use a VPN to help prevent your online activity from becoming a permanent record. IVPN encrypts your data and DNS requests so your ISP or mobile network provider cannot monitor or log your online activity. Purchase an IVPN service today anonymously with Monero. Woot woot. All right. Should be sharing the screen. All right.
Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe we should switch places.
Yeah, and then you can go accordingly.
All
All right. Bear with us, my friends. Let's do this. Can I go in? Oakley dokley.
Always something, guys. Why can't I hear myself here?
Because I have it on low.
Oh, make it louder. Okay. Where are the stories? Where are
No,
the...
I just had it there for you. It's right. Yeah. That is it. And you just control it.
Okay. First story of the day. Urgent. The Argentine Central Bank has just suspended operations for today and Monday. Foreign payments have been suspended. There are no more dollars in the system. Is this true, guys? I mean, I saw somebody tweet about this. This sounds pretty crazy. Looks like the central bank was effectively already dipping into customer USD deposits at local banks. This was last month, and it only got worse since then. So there's this interesting thread that Bawdyanarchist put out about the Argentine central bank suspending operations for today and Monday because they basically ran out of dollars. He posts a video, but I believe it's in Spanish, so I'm not going to play that. The central bank will now also force companies to inform the central bank 2 days in advance of all purchases over USD $10,000. Wow. So their companies are going to have to notify the central bank when they're making purchases over 10 grand. This is just crazy. I mean, it's just a sign of, fiat gone bad. We all know things are severely screwed up in Argentina. It's actually the perfect location for organic adoption of crypto to take place. And we've talked about that on the show quite a few times. There's some strong crypto Monero advocates in Argentina that are in the Monero community and have talked about this and talked about how they're seeing organic adoption in Argentina for these reasons. People using crypto literally out of a need, right? Especially those that need to get money in and out of the country are using crypto for those purposes. So this is an interesting story. Fiat at its worst. And Argentina is just one example of where it's happening. Inevitably, as we know the story goes, this is how fiat ends. Untraceable put out a tweet. In the past 2 days, Matt Crater made 2 videos focusing on Monero. NVK tweeted about Monero 6 separate times, and I read the sentence, "Don't they fork every 6 months? LOL. More times than I count." Self-described Bitcoin maxis, yet their focus is Monero. Wonder why. Yeah, Untraceable is a good point. I've noticed that this week as well. There's been a lot of FUD against Monero this week coming out of the Bitcoin camp, coming from the BTC maxis. This guy, Matt Crater, put out this video attacking Bitcoin ASIC resistance, saying ASIC resistance is silly. He made a video, and then Howard Chu tore him apart. Highly recommend reading that thread. If you don't fully understand what Monero's ASIC resistance is all about and the point, that's a great thread to check out. Howard explains it to Matt, and then Matt responded with putting out a second video the day after, where he then pivoted, and so no longer attacking Monero for its ASIC resistant algorithm after Howard Chu explained to him how all of his criticisms basically didn't make any sense. He then shifted to attack Monero because of its quote unquote bloat, and that it can't scale. So Monero's big fat problem. He has a video about how Monero can't scale. We've all heard this FUD before. He's, ignoring basically Nielsen's law. He's ignoring the fact that, technology is improving over time. The stats that we've seen, how bandwidth technology has increased something like 5 times since the concerns first came up in Bitcoin in 2015, and how hardware has increased something like 10 times, or I might be getting those stats mixed, 5 and 10. But he ignores all these things. He ignores the fact that comparing Bitcoin to Monero, apples to apples, Monero is arguably has less bloat, right? So if you're trying to use Bitcoin, Monero transactions, sure, might be 4 times larger than Bitcoin's. But if you're actually trying to use Bitcoin in a default fungible way, where everybody's using it in a default private way, you effectively have to do a lot more transactions. And at that point, are you really more efficient than Monero in terms of your size? Probably not. There's so many different ways to look at it, and just the fact that he's kind of like pinpointed this and declared it to be a a fatal flaw. It just shows that guy hasn't done his research, claiming that people can't run Monero nodes when we all know how easy it is to run a Monero node. People can do it with their hardware at home. Does it take up some space? Sure it does. Same with Bitcoin nodes. He's claiming basically that because Monero's market cap is so low that it's insignificant, that nobody uses it. He compared it to a food snack company, saying Monero is no more significant than a food snack company because it only has a market cap of whatever, $2 billion, whatever it is, completely ignoring the fact that Bitcoin at one point had a market cap of 2 billion. Not too long ago, guys. I think even as early as 2014, at some point, it hit the very low billions, 2 billion. Similar in size to Monero, and those who've been around know that like those criticisms used to be made against Bitcoin. So for this guy to kind of portray himself as some old school Bitcoiner, I think he calls his podcast is called like the Bitcoin Education Podcast or something. It seems like he needs to go back and do some more educating of himself before he goes out and teaches others. Next story: Belarus to decide on issuing CBDC by year's end. National Bank chair. Just more of the same weekly stories we're seeing on CBDC is just growing throughout the world. The National Bank of the Republic of Belarus has prepared a pilot program for a central bank digital currency, according to the Office of BEITA news agency. The country will make a decision on the issuance of a digital Belarusian ruble by the end of the year. So they're moving fast. They're thinking about issuing a digital ruble, basically a CBDC. If the project goes ahead with creating the Belarusian CBDC, there will be a pilot program that will experiment with a narrow range of participants. So yeah, Belarus is getting in on the action. Crowler called CBDC a third form of money and said that a digital ruble would be much like other forms of non-cash money. So things that, aren't physical and I guess not private by nature, but available offline as well as online. Cross-border payment is the most interesting technology for us, he said. If other countries introduce digital currency, we should be ready to hook up our systems so our citizens and companies have a high level of service. Doesn't that sound nice, guys? So everybody have their own CBDC, no matter what country they're in, and then all these, they can all interoperate through one large centralized central bank that's connecting them all together, and it would add so much efficiency and security to your life. I'm being ironic here and sarcastic. We all know the dangers of CBDCs and how it can be used as a perfect tool for surveillance and potentially censorship, and just being able to program everybody's money and how they use it. And the entire world, all the states around the world are moving towards it. UK next door. UK may have crypto regulation within a year. So the UK has woken up to crypto. Obviously, they've been well aware of it for quite some time, but now they're talking about making some big moves in the regulation space. The United States Kingdom could lay out digital asset regulation within 12 months, a British lawmaker claimed, saying the country wants to capitalize on the benefits that blockchain can bring to the private sector. For the first time in decades, Griffith claimed the UK government is now well positioned to regulate crypto in a pragmatic and proportionate manner. Let's see. He also appeared to make reference to the UK's exit from the European Union. Let's see if there's anything juicy in here. Whenever possible, we want to see the same asset regulated in the same way, but there are some additional opportunities in the crypto asset distributors. He cited settlement. Griffith said a potential rollout of the UK's proposed central bank digital currency, nicknamed Bitcoin by the public, has a much longer lead time. So in the UK, at least, they're saying they're kind of CBDCs aren't right around the corner, right? So here they're just talking about upping crypto regulation, but not so much CBDCs. They're not ready for that. Griffith added he wants to see a policy debate regarding privacy and the technology of the digital pound thrashed out to ensure that all concerns are addressed. Okay, so we've heard this story before, right? So large state looking to implement CBDC, but they're concerned that CBDC won't provide base level privacy to their citizens. So this is good. This is good for society and ultimately good for Monero. That this is part of the narrative, right? That politically speaking, there are those out there that are realizing what a CBDC can do in terms of infringing people's privacy, and so it's becoming part of the mainstream conversation. Hopefully, these conversations lead to people realizing we need something like a Monero, right, which is in a CBDC and guarantees people's privacy in code. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of crypto exchange Coinbase, met with Griffin earlier this week while he was in London to give a speech on how the UK could turbocharge its crypto sector and ultimately become an innovation hub for Web3 economy. Coinbase's crypto hub aspirations for Britain are in line with the views of the Prime Minister Rishi, who explained last year while serving as finance. So they're teaming up with Coinbase here. It seems like Dubai, Singapore, and recently Hong Kong are some regions that have made pushes to become crypto hubs. The United States, on the other hand, has considerably stepped up crypto-related enforcement actions since Gary Gensler was sworn in as chair of the Security Exchange Commission. Yeah, that's a story I don't think we have on here. Gary, there was the SEC was in front of Congress. I think it was this week. It's all a blur, guys. Got a lot going on. But there's some good videos out there of him being asked some seemingly simple questions considering his expertise in the field, and he was not able to answer whether or not Ethereum was a security. He basically refused to give an answer to the question. He said with confidence before that Bitcoin is not a security, but he was unable to apply the same logic that he applied to Bitcoin to make a determination whether or not something like Ethereum is a security, which is really interesting. That's a whole nother story. Next story. What countries are buying the most Monero? So Cake Wallet recently added this service called Payfura, which allows you to buy Monero, I think even with your bank account. I'm a little behind on this as well. So it's a payment gateway that's integrated into that Cake Wallet recently integrated, so it just becomes another on-ramp for Monero. So you can use fiat to purchase Monero through Cake using Payfura, and they're getting some data from Payfura to see how how users are using it. So which countries are buying the most Monero? And Sweden is almost 40% is coming out of Sweden. So that's interesting. Who's the second biggest? United Kingdom, and then Switzerland. So that's interesting. And then I'm looking through the comments. We have some people criticizing why they even, I guess, posting this data. I mean, this isn't Cake, right? So like if you want to use Cake in a secure way, obviously not saying that this isn't secure, but in kind of your most privacy preserving way, yeah, purchase your Monero with cash, go use local Monero, or purchase some other crypto and swap it into Monero in non KYC AML ways, and then store your crypto on your Monero on Cake using something like Payfura. It's I don't know what their KYC AML looks like, but yeah, you're using Payfura at that point integrated into Cake. So this isn't Cake tracking people's data and figuring out where people are what countries are using Monero the most. This is them taking data from Payfura where people are using it for those purposes to buy Monero. So I don't know. I don't think we should really be critical of that. You don't have to use Payfura, but expect that they're gonna be collecting that data. Next story, Cake Wallet integrated with IVPN. Oh, so they're using IVPN, one of the most respected VPN providers, now uses Cake Lab's pricing API to accept Monero. So we already knew IVPN is accepting Monero, but now they're using Cake's pricing API. That's cool. They have a pricing API, so it makes it easier for people that are selling things from Monero to, I guess, essentially list the correct XMR to USD price. But yeah, just a reminder, IVPN is a great VPN. We use it. We've purchased the service with Monero. It's super easy. They don't ask for any information. I think just an email. I think maybe there's a way even without an email. It was like bare bones, no info required. And you can pay directly with Monero, and you're up and running with the VPN service. So super awesome. And they will be at Monerotopia, part of the Adoption Alley. We're big fans of IPN. Happy 9th Moneroversary. Monero launched 9 years ago on April 18th, 2014. So we did a show on that this week. We had a little Monero birthday show. We all know it was Monero's birthday. And last article, Chainanalysis on Monero's birthday, actually, put out an article, Privacy Coins 101, and anonymity enhanced cryptocurrencies. And it's just like a little blog about what Chainanalysis thinks about privacy coins. Blockchain technology has introduced a new era of financial transparency in a cryptocurrency ecosystem where transactions and wallet balances are permanently recorded and publicly visible. Participants are able to interact with increased trust and without the need for intermediaries. These features boost network security and can also facilitate investigation of stolen funds, which Chainanalysis just loves, transaction analysis, and identity discovery. However, not all blockchains are transparent. Privacy coins are the major exception. So it goes into privacy coins. What are privacy coins? How do privacy coins work? And then they actually quote some of the technology that Monero uses, stealth addresses, ring signatures. They mention the tech that Zcash is using, zero knowledge, ZK snarks. One of the most well-known, and this is where Monero really shines, right? They really point Monero as being, they're honest here. They point Monero as being the top dog. They mention how it's the only crypto that's private by default. And then they go ahead and show a comparison chart of Bitcoin to Monero transactions. And kind of in a way where, they're showing how, obviously there's a lot less Monero transactions than BTC transactions, but showing the general uptrend, how Monero is gaining, right, in amount of transactions versus Bitcoin over time. More and more people are using privacy coins. And then they go ahead and list the top 15 privacy coins, and some of these, so Monero number one, then Zcash, then Dash. I thought Dash even made an announcement like not too long, like a year or so ago, when there was coins were being delisted for being privacy coins. They came out and said, we are not a privacy coin, but for some reason they're number 3 on this list. And then it just like continues with like Decred. I don't know how they could be considered a privacy coin at all. Decred will actually be participating at Monerotopia, because there's a little bit of a community down there in Mexico City, and we've been getting a lot of help from the guy who runs the Decred community down there. So he's going to have a table down there. I mean, Decred is focused on like decentralized governance and things like that. They're not focused on privacy at all. And for some reason, Chainanalysis has them as like in the top 5 of privacy coins. Mobile coin, what? Horizon, Keep Network, never even heard of that one, guys. Secret, Status, I don't know what that is. Darrow's on there, way at the bottom. NIM and Fala Network. NIM, I assume that's NIM. NIM will be at the conference. NIM is, kind of another version of Tor. But yeah, just their list is just bizarre of their top 15 privacy coins. It's just kind of bizarre. Privacy coin use cases. So this is cool. They kind of give some like deference to the importance of privacy coins, like, because it reduces authoritarian financial control. Yeah, guys, that's kind of why crypto was invented. I guess people behind Chainanalysis don't really understand the value prop of crypto, protecting sensitive information. So they are saying that there are some use cases, and then they go into talking about the bans and how privacy coins are legal in the United States, but other major world economies have imposed restrictions in an effort to curb money laundering and reduce organized crime. Japan banned privacy coins in 2018. I remember that, guys. South Korea and Australia followed suit, delisting Monero, Zcash, and other coins from exchanges. Dubai, I guess you guys should all remember that was recently, is the latest country to join this list in 2023. They banned Monero, with other jurisdictions such as the European Union considering bans. And then they say a leaked draft of a proposed money laundering bill written by the EU stated that credit institutions, financial institutions, and crypto asset service providers shall be prohibited from keeping anonymity enhancing coins. So there's this leaked draft that talks about how the EU is moving towards essentially trying to ban privacy coins as well. We're talking about that quite a bit on the show. Several mainstream exchanges have also stopped offering privacy coins. So now they're talking about the exchanges that have booted Monero. Bittrex, Kraken delisted Monero in the UK. So all the doom and gloom. And then they're talking about the future of privacy coins. This is just funny. So this whole thing ends. The conclusion is, guys, from Chainanalysis is, as the cryptocurrency ecosystem advances, we will continue to see tokens with diverse use cases and characteristics. Thus far, privacy coins have challenged traditional blockchains by providing means of transacting with greater anonymity and flexibility, but have also raised questions about transparency and trust. To maintain a safe cryptocurrency ecosystem, neither full transparency nor total anonymity is ideal. So their conclusion is that privacy coins like Monero, or really they're just pinpointing only Monero, right? Because earlier in the article, they said how Monero is the only crypto that is default private. They're basically saying privacy is good. It's a nice to have. If you can opt into it, but it shouldn't be the default. To maintain a safe cryptocurrency ecosystem, neither full transparency nor full anonymity is ideal. Regulators require appropriate levels of legal authority and oversight to reduce malicious activities and protect participants, whether with privacy coins or other cryptocurrencies. At the same time, businesses require tools like tackle illicit activities. So basically saying businesses require they need to hire Chainanalysis because it's required to tackle illicit activities and preserve sensitive information. So their conclusion is Bitcoin represents a balance between the two, promoting privacy and financial freedom while offering enough transparency to prevent abuse and bad actors. So not surprised that this is the conclusion that a company that's in the business of analyzing blockchain data to conclude that we need blockchains that allow us to analyze their data. So obviously, I think everybody listening here knows that's complete horseshit. We need what we need is a default private coin, which they didn't even discuss the concept of fungibility. They don't even get into all that. But in their world, in their perfect world, we have a coin that is perfectly transparent, where you could opt into privacy as needed, and it gives regulators enough to analyze, enough info that they need to keep us all safe. But somehow it prevents people from being surveilled and tracked and traced. And we all know that's not the case. You can only have it one way or the other, guys. And that is the news, which I think is pretty good considering I didn't read the news beforehand. I just did that on the
Look
spot.
at that.
So that was pretty good. So I learned some things as well. Hope you guys did. Should I ask Tuxedo to come on? Yeah, sure.
Let's do that.
Or Lunar Down. Yeah, so I think our special guest this week ditched us.
Again.
We know Raphael means well. He's a busy guy. I mean, he's supposed to be down to Monero. Maybe he won't come to Monerotopia. Maybe we'll be surprised with that too. He's definitely coming down.
No, he's definitely coming down.
And we have Jeff Berwick, who's joining us as well. But yeah, I think Raphael forgot that he was supposed to come on today. Did anybody make contact with him?
Yeah, they're trying to call him. I think he's like oversleeping or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Lunar Dow's down to jump on?
Well, they're in the spaces actually right now, but I don't know who it is. I was just thinking about it because they're also.
Can they be our special guest?
Maybe. Tuxedo.
They will be present at Monerotopia in some form as well. They're going to be giving a talk, so that works.
Yeah, that works. Here you go. So let's try to get. Let's do this. Keep talking. Trying to find the link to share so we can do that right now.
Okay, yeah, throw it up there.
I will throw it up there.
The StreamYard link?
The StreamYard link, yeah.
Okay.
Trying to send it right now. Let's do that, and then we'll put on our little intro for the guest.
Okay, you need to do that over here, or you've now moved.
I don't know. I could do it from here, and then we could switch. Actually,
okay.
Let's remove that, and then let's move on to the guest. Hold on.
Let's do it.
Let's do this right now. Oh, let me remove this. Let's do this. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
There he is. All right,
I'm back here, guys. I'm closer to everyone now.
So
I guess.
Do we have Lunar Down?
I don't know because I was doing that. So in the process of doing that.
Okay.
Anybody
else want to be our special guest?
Yeah, right here. Hold on. Oh, we have Tuxsudo for now.
So all right.
I'll try to get.
Let's bring Tuxsudo up. Yeah. He's been helping us a ton behind the scenes.
Hello. Thank you for
hello.
coming on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How's it going?
Awesome. It's going all right. How's it going for you guys?
Good. Just hectic.
Is Monerotopia still down? It was DDoS.
Yeah,
attacked.
it is down.
It was DDoS? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my word! Wow. So I was just using the site yesterday to get more information. What happened?
It happened I guess late last night. This morning I was trying to post it, put it on for the show, and then it wasn't working, and we started freaking out. This was literally half hour before the show started. And
is it a problem with the provider, the site, like the VPS, or is it actually being DDoSed?
No, I think we got
No, it's actually being DDoSed. According to SiteGround.
According to the platform that we used.
He says, I can see there is a DDoS attack found on the website and think it was open on your behalf. Our seniors are trying to mitigate the attack, and then he goes on to suggesting something. But yeah.
It's too powerful. They don't like it. They don't want it to happen.
They don't like it.
They're on to us.
They're on to us. Not sure what happened.
Probably just some cranky Bitcoin maxi pad. There's a lot of Monero angst this week.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's been kind of a lot of attacks on Monero from specific people. But
I mean, I guess that's a badge of honor, right? Monerotopia has been DDoS. Somebody put in the effort to try to take it down. So let's get
honestly, the only reason someone would do that is if the project is actually doing something.
Yeah.
If it's somewhat powerful. So
yeah, kind of annoying, but I guess we'll see it as a pro. So Tuxedo, man, thank you for all the help. We might as well, let's thank you out here in the open. You've been helping us out a lot behind the scenes. We appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just really happy I get to actually go. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing I guess now confirmed I'll be doing a Graphene OS workshop. Kind of like a de-googling your phone, where I will primarily be showing off Graphene OS and its features because it's got a lot of special features. I use Graphene OS. I've been using it for I think 2 years now. It's the best mobile experience that I've found compared to using an iPhone or using like a regular Android device. And it's just like regular Android, but removes all the Google features basically, or doesn't even remove the Google features. Android by itself doesn't come with those Google apps or proprietary services. It's an open source project by itself, and Graphene OS just takes that and then improves on top of it with more privacy and security features.
Awesome. And I know people always, I don't follow these things too closely, but how does it compare to Calyx? I know we've had that discussion sometimes on the show, but where do you land on that?
Yeah, so there seems to be a lot of like drama and false information around like both the projects compared to each other, mostly because of drama. But the reality is that Graphene OS is the better one because it's more hardened, it's more security hardened, and it does actually have some more privacy features. So that's the one I choose to use.
Okay, very cool, man. And so you're going to basically doing like a workshop and to take people from zero to actually running Calyx. You're going to kind of walk them through the process. I mean, graphene.
Yeah. I'll be doing that. And then I'll also just be showing off some of its features. Like it has the option if you have to, because a lot of apps require these Google services, of course.
Mhm.
It has an option to use those Google services just in a more secure and private way where they've tricked the Google services into running without being privileged apps. So they don't have this, uh, you know, access to your entire phone like it normally would.
So if people wanted to like really participate in a high level way, would you, recommend they bring down a device and you can kind of help them out if they need type of thing? What do you think?
Yeah, that would if they wanted to get it going right there and then to maybe like follow along, that would be awesome. But definitely will be bringing at least one or two extra devices that I have, older Pixels, to show off and demo.
So somebody starting from scratch that wanted to do it in the best way possible, what device would you recommend?
I would recommend, and this is the one caveat. This is the same. This is pretty much the same with Calyx. Is that they only work on Google Pixels. That's for very specific reasons. Um, but I would recommend getting a newer Google Pixel as you're going to have if you want to keep your phone for the longest amount of time. For instance, if you were to get a Pixel 7 right now, you will still have more than 4 years of security update supports. Or if you wait for the Pixel 7a that's about to come out in a month or two, you'll have an entire 5 years of security update support for that device. And so I definitely recommend getting a newer one if you can. They are getting pretty cheap. Like you can get a Pixel 7 for probably around $400 brand new, which is pretty good. Or you can even get a Pixel 6.
And that's your daily user?
Yes, I use a Pixel 7, just a regular one. It's a great phone, and it's pretty cheap. So
Yeah, I think we've asked you this before, but for anybody like, how'd you get into all this, man? You're a young guy. Why are you so passionate about Monero and de-Googled phones? What's your drive? What's your motivation?
I guess it's just for me, since I've always been into like computers and tech. I think it's just I ended up like knowing too much. Like a lot of people get into it because they uh they find out like, oh, these companies steal your data and stuff like that, and that was part of it for me. But I just being into technology for so long and like understanding how a lot of certain things work, it just like blows my mind seeing the amount of egregious actions by like certain software and companies, and how they handle your data and how they completely do things without you knowing. Like they don't, most people don't even know a lot of this stuff happens. And I think that's the main thing that got me into privacy. But it's also like trying to protect my own self online because I realized how hard that is to do that, even if you want to. It's extremely challenging. And so that kind of just put me down the rabbit hole of going through privacy stuff. And I've been into privacy for quite a while now. And Monero a little more recently. But
What
yeah, it's just how hard it is to get privacy online. It just takes a while, and there's always so much to learn, like every year.
Yeah, and I think we've asked you this before, but it's a good question. Like, what are some of the most simple things you'd recommend? So complete noob who's interested in this concept of trying to, protect their privacy, protect their data, gain privacy online or just in the world at large. What are some simple things you recommend people do? Like the easiest things, biggest bang for your buck things that you could start doing to add, privacy to your digital life.
Well, you could start off by listening to Monero Talk. That'll definitely get you somewhere. To just to do the first thing for privacy, it would probably be to start pulling back on some of the social medias you use because those are going to be where they data mine you the most and where they will collect and profile the most about you. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people because if you're on the social medias, there's a good chance that you use them with a lot of people. But if you want to start somewhere, that would be a very important start. But also changing some of the few softwares you use, like using Signal, getting family and friends to use Signal if you can, instead of using WhatsApp or Snapchat or Instagram for messaging people. Changing your browser, instead of using regular Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, you could opt for like Firefox or even a fork of Firefox called LibreWolf, or you could use Brave browser, which is just Chromium but with privacy features baked in. And even
How about Tor
getting into
browser?
Monero. Oh, what'd you say?
Is Tor browser, is that one of your top picks as well?
Oh yeah, of course, Tor browser. That one's definitely a lot harder to use as just like a daily browser for everything because of how slow it is and inconsistent. But yeah, no, if you want to really browse privately, then Tor browser is definitely required.
And then go ahead. What was your? I interrupted you there.
Oh yeah. And I guess probably looking into changing your phone if that's an option for you, because I know most people use either an iPhone, especially in the United States. It's a lot of iPhones, or they use an Android they use a proprietary version of Android that comes with a bunch of invasive services. Like if you have a regular Google Pixel that's got regular Google's Android on it, it's going to have all the invasive Google services that run highly privileged. If you have a Samsung, you're not just going to have Google stuff, but you're also going to have Samsung stuff at the same time. It's a double-edged thing because you also have those Samsung services that are also highly privileged that can take a bunch of data from you. So the next thing that I would do is probably figure out your phone situation. That's definitely a bit more challenging. But if you were to get a Pixel, then you could use a different operating system, a different version of Android on there that would not have these baked-in invasive services.
Fantastic, man. Good, simple, actionable advice. And obviously use Monero, right? I don't know. Did you say
Use
that?
Monero. And if you're on Windows, you could look into going into Linux. That one is definitely a lot harder for a lot of new people and people who aren't as tech savvy. It's a lot more involved, even more so than like putting Graphene OS on your Pixel. But I use Fedora and I love it. It's easy to use. It's the one I would recommend for a newer person.
Awesome. And why we have you, man? How's the pamphlet coming along? So yeah, that's one of the things we're gonna be giving away. I don't know what we're calling it. Pamphlet, the booklet,
the
magazine. This is gonna be pretty diesel, right? We have Tuxsudo helping us out with that. How's that coming along, man?
Yeah, it's good. It's looking pretty good. There's definitely a little more work to do. But it's just huge. It's just massive. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. The amount of
It just keeps
speakers and
going.
stuff we have. I mean, that's great. That's great. You guys have so much traction for the conference this year. It's crazy.
That we got
it should be
attacked.
cool. I like this book though because it's like a keepsake. You can keep it, and you'll it's gonna be nice. It's gonna have all the speakers in there. It's gonna have a whole section about basic info about Monero, Monero resources. Where to buy and use your Monero. It's also going to be what people can use to participate in the workshops. What else we got in there? That's really it, right? But it's a lot.
It's a lot.
We have
Yeah,
so
it's a
many
lot. Yep,
speakers
that's
and everything.
basically it.
But
Yeah.
it's cool.
Got some things to learn more about Monero.
Yeah. You go around, get signatures from the different speakers, right? Have them sign your book.
As you start stalking them.
As you steal their signature. But no, it should be cool. And yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Tuxedo, want to bring up anything else?
I don't think I have anything else immediately on my mind.
Do you want to explain the meaning of your name? Because we
Oh, yeah,
had
that's-
mispronounced it. At
I
one
fixed
point,
it, although you
and,
can't see it on the website.
For those who don't know, what is the meaning behind Tuxsudo?
Yeah, so there's some people who have thought it was a tuxedo, which is kind of what it sounds like. And I think Bawdy gets it because he just said in the chat it was a fun name. But my profile picture is a penguin. That is Tux the penguin, which is the Linux mascot, which I'm sure everyone has seen at some point, but they probably don't know what it is. And then sudo, sudo, that is the prefix command that is used very often to run something as root on Linux. So any Linux person will immediately understand what that means. And my profile picture has not just Tux, but Tux with a bow tie. So it's kind of like he's wearing a tuxedo. So I just put Tux and sudo together. And that was it. That was the best name I've ever come up with because I'm very bad with names. I'm very bad.
Well thought, man. It's beautiful. And you got your little.
It took me way too long to figure that out.
Well worth it. All right, buddy. I think that's it. And I think, does anybody have questions in the chat, in the spaces? Just kind of raise your hand. Otherwise,
Give us a thumbs up.
won't
Otherwise, we'll
move
close
over
out.
there. I don't know if anybody wants to participate, come up on stage here on YouTube. We got like 20 people. You want to throw the link in, see if anybody jumps up?
Sure. I think
Throw
I
the
did
link
already.
in there. So yeah, if anybody wants to jump up on stage that's viewing through
Who are viewers
YouTube,
on stage
that wants to
segment
click
here.
the StreamYard link.
Give people a little motivation if they want to jump on.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's the viewers on stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down. Ha 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 ha.
Come on down, guys. There's always
Very
a lot
cheesy.
to talk about. StreamYard link, if you want to do that. We'll wait a minute or two if anybody wants to jump on that. Cindy to just post it in the comments. All you have to do is click the link and you're live. We'll bring you up.
And you're live to chat with us.
And then in the spaces, just raise your hand there or whatever. Post a heart or something if you want us to jump in there. Otherwise, we are not going to do that.
Otherwise, yeah. We'll talk to you next week.
There are a bunch of people in there, but I don't see anybody.
Talk to you next week, a weekend before the conference.
Yeah, we got plenty of other things to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to do. So,
all right, well, we'll leave it at
I
that.
guess
We'll
we'll
take
leave
this
it at
as a
that.
sign. People are giving us a break.
thank you, Tuxsudo, for jumping on last minute. Appreciate it. And for helping us with the booklet. It's very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, of course.
And we look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, very excited to hang out with you, man.
I'm so
Thank you for everything.
excited.
But thanks for jumping on today, last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All righty.
All right,
I guess with that, I guess let's close it out. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Have
Cheers,
a good
everybody.
weekend.
Don't
Adios.
DDoS us anymore.
Please don't. Let's get that fixed. Hopefully the website, they're working on that and it'll be up and running soon. As of right now, it's not working. So again, email us at
Email us if you want to come to the conference.
Monerotopia@protonmail.com. Email us. That's your best bet right now if you want to reserve anything or volunteer or just say hello. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Adios. Peace out.
Cheers.
Let's end it. Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.